Which Toyota Tundra is better, the all-new third generation or the second generation? As an owner of a second generation Tundra with a 5.7-liter V8 who has also driven the new iForce and iForce Max extensively, I'm going to share my insight as to which truck is a better fit for you. So if you're in the market for a truck or are wondering if you should keep your old Tundra or upgrade to a new one, you're going to want to watch this. If you enjoy automotive content and find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Toyota completely redesigned the Tundra for the 2022 model year. The truck received a welcome exterior redesign with a much more modern appearance. More aggressive body lines and sharper accents replaced the softer design of the old truck. The headlights are much better looking and the taillights are finally LED with dynamic turn signals. A common complaint is that the grille is just too big, but the look changes significantly depending on the trim level. The TRD Sport has a nice color-matched grille surround, while the Platinum has a dark grille, which can really stand out depending on the color, so that's something to consider. The interior also received a major overhaul, with a completely new dashboard with a large infotainment screen, optional digital gauge cluster, panoramic moonroof, as well as my favorite feature, a panoramic view monitor, which makes parking so much easier. The second generation truck isn't bad looking, but it's by no means modern. The new interior is aesthetically pleasing, but it has had some minor issues with fit and finish, so if you'd rather have a solid, old interior without issues, forfeiting the modern design and upgraded features, the old one is the way to go. Replacing the ultra-reliable 5.7-liter V8 is a completely new powertrain. The new Tundra comes with a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 with the option of adding an electric motor, which is called the iForce Max. The regular iForce in most forms makes 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, while the iForce Max makes 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. Compare this to the 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque in the second generation, which are still good, just not as impressive. Those numbers were way ahead of the competition at the time of its release for the 2007 model year, but it had fallen behind the competition over time. The redesigned Tundra also comes with a 10-speed automatic transmission, replacing the rugged yet dated 6-speed transmission. The result is an extremely powerful setup with a ton of low-end power as it reaches maximum torque at just 2,400 RPM. Towing with both the new iForce and the iForce Max is effortless thanks to the impressive amount of torque, primarily thanks to the turbochargers, as well as the 10-speed transmission, which helps keep the engine in its power band. The V6 is also much quieter overall when accelerating, cruising down the highway, or pulling a trailer, which leads to a more refined experience. Of course, it no longer produces that V8 rumble that just can't be replicated with a smaller engine, and even an aftermarket exhaust doesn't match the tone of a V8, but it can still be fun to listen to the turbo spool up, and the quietness makes for a more luxurious ride. The steering in the redesigned Tundra is much better than before. It's lighter and it makes it easier to maneuver at low speeds, but it's also much more responsive with less body roll. The truck responds much quicker to any movements, which makes it feel much more car-like and easier to drive. Some people don't want it to handle like a car because it's a truck and it should handle like one, but I found the experience to be much better. The brakes are also more responsive, and the pedal just doesn't require as much effort as the old one did. So, if you want it to drive like a truck, you're obviously going to prefer the old one, but the new one still feels like a truck while being much easier to drive. The third generation Tundra has a better ride quality thanks to a rear coil spring setup. These coils provide a softer ride than a traditional leaf spring setup, which is better for long trips or if you live where the roads aren't the greatest. However, owners have reported that they can be a little squishy when the truck is loaded up with a trailer or a heavy load in the bed. This means the truck will sag more than the previous setup. For this reason, owners who plan on doing a lot of towing should consider upgrading to the air suspension, which has the ability to raise and lower the back of the truck so it's level even when loaded. Both the old and new Tundra are very comfortable places to spend time and will draw very few complaints. The seats can be a little firm on both trucks, so if this is something you're sensitive to, you'll need to upgrade to a Platinum 1794 or above in both cases in order to get a softer foam. Lower trim levels have a foam inside the seat that's very firm, which is exemplified with the Softex option. Otherwise, the seats are extremely supportive and comfortable in both cases, with plenty of adjustability. The steering wheel also has plenty of adjustability in terms of tilting and telescoping, and the pedals are well placed no matter your height. Don't convince yourself to buy a new Tundra because the gas mileage will be better, because you might be disappointed. Firstly, the hybrid is designed to produce power, not to increase gas mileage. Secondly, the EPA estimates are better for the new Tundra, probably due to things like a smaller displacement engine and the new transmission. And while it's not hard to surpass the miles per gallon figures from the 5.7, a lot of it comes down to how the truck is driven. Most people who have the extra power are going to use it, and since the new Tundra makes so much torque at such a low RPM, you're going to take advantage of it, and the same goes for towing. As a result, the gas mileage might not be what you expect. If you drive it extremely conservatively, not utilizing any turbo boost, and coasting from miles up to every stop, the Turbo V6 will get better mileage. Just don't buy one expecting it to cut your gas consumption in half. The 2007 to 2021 Toyota Tundra is known for being one of the most reliable cars in the world. The 5.7-liter engine runs seemingly forever, even with very little maintenance, even when being used for work or when towing and hauling every single day. It did have some small issues, such as leaking valve covers, but the engine is extremely well built other than some isolated problems. The 6-speed transmission is also insanely long-lasting, with very few reported failures. Even those who beat this truck up every day, don't change the oil and neglect the transmission fluid, rarely ever have problems. It's basically the same setup in the Toyota Land Cruiser, which is arguably the longest-lasting car in the world. It does have a few small differences, but the setup is almost the same, and it will easily go several 100,000 miles without issue, even in tortuous environments. It's typical for a newly redesigned vehicle to have some problems, and the Tundra was no exception, as the new twin-turbo V6 has had some isolated issues. Early models had some problems with the turbo wastegate, but that was only on the early 2022 models, and since Toyota switched suppliers for the part, the issue seems to have been resolved. There have also been some reported engine problems due to bearing failure, which ultimately requires the engine to be rebuilt. It's hard to say exactly how common these issues are, but they don't seem to be all that common. Will a turbo V6 be as reliable as an under-stressed V8 that Toyota had 15 years to perfect? Probably not, but Toyota is known for their quality, dependability, and reliability, so it's unlikely that they're going to risk that reputation with this new powertrain. It's not that I think this will be an unreliable powertrain compared to other trucks out there, but the 5.7 was just so bulletproof that it's hard to match. Since 2018, the Tundra has come standard with pretty much all of the safety features you'd want, such as blind spot monitoring, pre-collision system, automatic high beams, rear cross traffic alert, and others. The older models didn't come with these. The redesigned third-generation Tundra is more refined than the previous generation, with more modern styling, an updated interior with more features, and a more powerful powertrain. But with these niceties do come some isolated problems that are common with any newly redesigned vehicle, and the long-term reliability of the twin-turbo V6 setup is yet to be determined. Whereas with the 5.7-liter V8, it's almost impossible to go wrong. Both options are good choices, but it all depends on what you're looking for. Do you want an old-school truck that's going to last for many years and not going to give you any issues? Buy the old Tundra. If you don't mind dealing with any small issues that come up with a recently redesigned vehicle and really want the beautiful modern design, added features, and extra power, you really can't go wrong with the third generation.